Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The Mets can control their own destiny in the wild card race, but they've got to get past the Cubs. Also, the Arizona Cardinals host the Seattle Seahawks in a Thursday night NFC West clash, and the Detroit Pistons have surpassed Giannis and the Bucks.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The New York Mets needed to beat the Chicago Cubs to keep pace in the NL wildcard race. It was a tough one against the Chicago Cubs. Locked On Mets' Ryan Finkelstein has the latest.
Jonathan, unfortunately, right now is a two-pitch pitcher. He has his fastball and he has his changeup. And other than that, everything else is a work in progress. And kind of gone through this with Sean Manaea this season as a two-pitch pitcher. Makes it really hard for you to go deep into games when opponents and opposing lineups really can just focus in on those two pitches and double the pressure on a kid like Jonathan because he's a kid. He's still a prospect. He is still a work in progress, and he's being thrusted right in to the middle of a playoff race and is being asked to carry a major load. And when it's not working like it wasn't tonight for Jonathan, it can just unravel really quickly. He only threw 5 pitches that were the curve or the slider. Everything else was fastballs and changeup. So again, just a two-pitch pitcher and gave up a ton of hard hit contact. I believe it was 8 total hard hit balls according to StatCast against him. Didn't get out of the third inning. So for 2 straight nights, the Mets have been unable to get a starter to give them 3 innings. And it's just too much. It's too much that the Mets are asking of their young starters. It's too much that the Mets are asking of their bullpen. And Jonathan is showing here thus far. And while he was impressive in his debut and he has shown pockets of being one of the top prospects in the Mets system, he is showing that he is the most unready of the 3 starters that the Mets have called up. Between him, Nolan McLean, and Brendan Sproat, there just seems to be more of a comfort level for Sproat and McLean and less volatility when those 2 guys take the mound than there is with Jonathan. Feels very boom or bust right now while Tong kind of works through his repertoire and adds that third pitch that he can go to reliably. With McLean, he's got a wide arsenal of pitches. Brendan Sproat throws 6 pitches and mixes them in and utilizes them all. Tong is fastball, changeup. The idea being the induced vertical break on that fastball sets up that great changeup, and that's going to be his ticket. Fastballs north-south, dotting them in the top of the zone and the bottom of the zone, and then using that changeup. Well, it seems like he needs to add an additional pitch to help make that fastball and changeup combination work. And trying to work through that issue at the big league level on top of being in a playoff race, just being asked to do a lot. And it's unfair. Does he need to pitch better? Yes. If he's getting these opportunities, the Mets need better from him. They need better from every starter that takes the mound for them. But you feel for the kid because he's being put in a spot that I don't think the Mets wanted to put him in at the beginning of the season. And just overall, this is another example of the Mets pitching staff just not being playoff quality right now. I mean, it is very clear that they don't have 3 starters that they can turn to for a playoff series. If they are able to get in here over the next couple of days, 4 games remaining after tonight, they have 2 starters. Sproat and McLean will start game 1 and 2 in some combination. I don't know who would start a game 3. I mean, there's just nobody that you feel 100%, even 90% confident in. And it's just been a huge problem. And you just feel for Tong tonight here. And the pitching woes in general have been a huge problem for the Mets. And it's been the main reason why they've allowed that 45-24 start to completely go by the wayside. Every pitching rank, their starters ERA, their relievers ERA towards the bottom of the league since the middle of June. They just have not been up to playoff quality. And it's no surprise that in the most important week of the year, the last 2 nights, David Peterson gave the Mets what he gave them. And then tonight, Jonathan struggled as well. Luckily, over the next 2 days, they're going to have Sproat and McLean, the 2 guys that I think are the most trustworthy members. But after that, it's just all a big stew of unknown. And it's so volatile right now for the New York Mets. Every day is a question mark, especially with how tight this wild card race is, and you just don't know what pitching you're going to get from this team every single night. Just makes a manager's job difficult, makes the team's job difficult offensively. And this game unraveled on the Mets, and they were just never able to get back into it. Offensively, two things of note. Francisco Alvarez continues to crush the baseball. Juan Soto hit home run number 43. That's really all there is on the offensive side of things here tonight for the Mets. You tip your cap to those two guys for doing what they did. Alvarez continuing to just swing a really nice bat, considering the 3 injuries, the 2 injuries to the hand, getting hit on the elbow, wearing that big puffy elbow guard. He's been really impressive. And Soto, I know it was a garbage time home run, but 43 continuing to run up that career high for him here in the 2025 season. I do want to talk about the sloppiness of this game. The Mets had a rough day at the office when it came to their defense, one player in particular, and it was a weird night for Carlos Mendoza, and we gave him all the praise in the world yesterday for the job that he did in that game. I thought he managed his tail off in the game yesterday to get the Mets to win tonight.
Stay up to date all year on the New York Mets by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Mets on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, the Cardinals have a big opportunity tonight. Before we get to that, the Reds needed a win in the worst way over Paul Skeens and the Pirates. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for the weekend with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however I like to bet, whether I'm in the mood for a player prop, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to my Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. The Reds and Pirates got into a pitching duel on Wednesday night with a spot in the wild card on the line for Cincinnati.
Thank you for joining me tonight as we discuss the Reds blowing yet another opportunity to take advantage and lose 4-3 to the Pittsburgh Pirates when they strand 13 hitters. Okay, that's my one. If you were just checking my show out for the first time, welcome.
The Commanders, they're looking for answers right now while Terry McLaurin is sidelined.
In fantasy football, it's you win your league on the waiver wire. Well, in the NFL, you win by the depth that you have and the talent that you identify that maybe didn't pan out with one team but has an opportunity and takes advantage of it. Here, I think that's the thing that we're going to continue to see with this team. And listen, around the NFL too, right, Anthony? Like, you look and see all the injuries that we've dealt with. That's how Brock Purdy got the opportunity that he had in San Francisco. It was injury after injury after injury. The one thing I will say from a Jaden Daniels perspective, again, Dan Quinn saying today they're going to know more on Friday what his injury status looks like. Same thing for Terry McLaurin and a lot of these other injuries. We're not getting much more at this point, though. Terry did get a second opinion on that quad injury. The one thing that feels really promising and is in a really good spot for this team is not just that Marcus Mariota obviously looked good starting last week against the Raiders, looked capable, looked like a veteran, and it meant a lot to him if you saw the post-game interview where he was really emotional. I love that. But it's also, too, he's similar in the sense of the type of quarterback that Jaden Daniels is. So you don't have to alter your offense a ton where you see some of these teams, and I get it, it's easier said than done, but like they're not matching their starting quarterback. You need somebody that has at least a similar game, a similar skill set to what your starting quarterback has, so you can keep the offense looking in as much as you can, like keep it going in the way that you had it designed before. And that's something that they're at least going to be able to do, whether it's Mariota or it's Jaden Daniels against the Falcons.
Man, that is big brain right there. My son would say
every
big brain.
Every once in a while, my friend.
And the Miami Heat are bringing back Precious Achiuwa.
I'm kind of torn because I do love a good reunion story. I mean, we were both very excited about Josh Hutchinson returning to the team, even though that didn't work out quite the way we expected to. We've talked about a number of players who have left and come back during this 25 and 25 series that we've gone into NBA history or Heat history. And there's always great moments there. It should be something exciting and fun. And yet with Precious, I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's the right option. I don't know if that's the best center that was available out there. I don't know if it was worth it to sign somebody just to say, yeah, we sure have something like a big out there on the roster. So I don't know. Yeah. It's a move. It is really a move.
It's a battle of 2-1 teams in the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals, two teams that, you know, we're sleepers, according to some folks in the national media. Our pal Alex Clancy from Locked On Cardinals, the only local media you need to worry about, joins us now. And Alex, this is a Cardinals team, I would say, a rather unimpressive 2-1, just given the way that they've won some of these games. But 2-1 is 2-1. They're on pace to make the playoffs here. What's the real? Tell me what is real about this start for the Cardinals?
So much sleepers this offseason that the offense hasn't woken up yet. Here's the thing.
Kyler Murray kind of always looks sleepy.
Well, I mean, Kyler does things effortlessly that other people can't do, even though he runs like he's running in fast forward. Like when you look at what they did this offseason, the thing that I've been struggling with and what a lot of people have been struggling with is the defense looks good because it's supposed to. They had all the money, all the draft picks, and the offense looks like an offense that didn't have any additions to it. I didn't think they needed it. I thought this was going to be a year 2 breakout for Marv. I thought, Trey McBride was going to emerge as tight end 1 across the league. And it's been difficult. Some have said it's the scheme. Some have said it's Kyler. Some have said it's something in between. We don't really know yet. And that's bigger than having a problem.
Okay. So if they're 2-1, they're winning games and they're not fully formed yet. If you're a Cardinals fan, shouldn't you be encouraged by that?
One would think the perpetual optimist that is Peter Bukowski. Here's the deal. This isn't a new offensive coordinator. It's not new skill position players. The majority of the offensive line is back. What is there to figure out? It's the same offense. It's the same players. And I say it somewhat tongue in cheek because it's yes, in theory, this was supposed to go from the jump. The 2 wins, they barely beat New Orleans after they let them claw back. They barely beat Carolina after they took a 27-3 lead, and they should have won last week. The offense can't put up points, man. That's the issue. Scoring 20 points a game with Marv, Trey McBride, Kyler Murray, and now to be Trey Benson with a good offensive line, other teams would kill for that, and they just can't do anything with it.
Yeah, the James Conner injury, of course, hurts, but okay, we have to talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. because he has been for the average non-Cardinals fan, the only thing you might know about this Cardinals team is what you've seen on social media, which is the brutal drops that you're seeing on social from Marvin Harrison Jr. What's going on?
I don't know. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. When people ask what's wrong with the offense, I say for Marv, it's the scheme. For everything else, it's kind of Kyler. And when it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr. specifically, we've seen flashes of brilliance that other receivers may never get to. You knew what he was coming out of college. He was by people that I trust and that you trust, like Trevor Sikkema and others said, the highest graded prospect he's ever graded.
Yeah.
So you've got the dad name. You got Larry Fitzgerald lineage here. So you've got everything stacked against him to where he's never going to reach what people want him to reach. So that's one. Having said that, he's looked terrible for large stretches of time since, being drafted last year. This is about with James Conner going down. It's okay, this is the time. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. I asked, and I tweeted this about he had a really emotional press post-game little video taken from him after that big drop in San Francisco. It's he's about to cry. This is a kid. He's 23 years old. Yeah. He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. It's you know what? He may not be it, but it's way too early to tell. I think there's plenty of time for him to grow into this role. Look what happened with Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper could not catch a football for the first 2 years in the NFL, and then he became, a Pro Bowler. So we'll see.
This matchup in particular, Seahawks have looked really good lately after week 1. What does Arizona have to do to get a win here?
Protect the quarterback. This defensive front may be the most overlooked in football. Byron Murphy out of Texas from last year, and Leonard Williams is he's an unsung dude. All he does is just ravage people. If he had Aaron Donald's PR team, we'd know a lot more about him, even though I'm not comparing the two. But they've got to protect Kyler Murray. They need to give him 3 seconds in the pocket. That's one. And then the offense needs to score more than 16 points. It's not about the run game. It's not about the pass game. It's about scoring more points than they have. Sustained drives, scoring touchdowns like we've seen this team do. Seattle terrifies me. This team terrifies me going to tomorrow night.
Why?
Because of what it could mean if it's a decisive loss by the Cardinals at home after what we saw this past Sunday, on top of the fact that Jackson Smith-Njigba, an Ohio State wide receiver that looks as advertised in his 3rd year. And we're looking at Marv, who's kind of not. He's the Arizona Cardinals version of Jackson Smith-Njigba going somewhere. It's the wildest thing. It seems to be a self-fulfilling prophecy at times, Peter. we'd poke fun about the Cardinals. You have, like, everybody I talk to, Peacock, all these guys have poked fun at the Cardinals forever because it's just what it is, man. So this is very grave conversations could be had if they lose 30-10 or something tomorrow night.
You can stay up to date all year on the Arizona Cardinals by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Cardinals on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Coming up, have the Pistons surpass the Bucks in the East? The Detroit Pistons are on the rise. Locked On NBA host Matt Moore and Hayes debate whether or not the Pistons have already surpassed Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks.
We are spending this week answering some of the big questions that are going to define the season. Earlier this week, we talked about whether or not the Thunder should be considered the favorites to repeat and win the championship. And we also talked about which teams could realistically come out of the Eastern Conference. Instead, today, we're going to move down the standings a little bit and ask which team could be this year's Pistons. And I want to frame it this way, guys, because it seems like every year we see a young, non-competitive team make that leap into young, competitive team. It was the Pistons last season. It was the Rockets the season before that. And now we look at the Rockets as, before this Fred VanVleet injury, a team that could potentially win the title. We've all talked about the Pistons earlier this week as a team that could potentially win the Eastern Conference. So my question to you guys, Matt, I'll start with you. Who do you think could be that team this year?
So there's a team that was playing that I want to talk about, but they're not bad enough for me to qualify here because the Pistons were truly awful the year before and then jumped into this spot. So we're going to go that route. I can't believe I'm saying this. So I'm not a Brandon Ingram guy. I don't buy into him. I don't think that he's a guy that makes other players better. I went on Locked On Raptors to kind of defend my skepticism. And I got to say, Sean Woodley kind of turned me around over the summer. And then if you look at the fact, post All-Star, the Raptors have the second best defensive rating in the league. That stat keeps rattling around my brain. If Darko is actually able to get these guys to defend, and I think Scotty Barnes is way better than what he's been able to show, and you get a fully healthy season from Emmanuel quickly, and they can somehow figure out a way to where Brandon Ingram doesn't suck up all the oxygen in the room, and guys like RJ Barrett and Grady Dick can actually contribute offensively, the Raptors, I think, have to be the answer here. They've got veteran talent with guys like Jakob Poeltl. They've got young guys with upside like RJ Barrett. They have a pure scorer in Brandon Ingram with some passing chops. And they've got Scotty Barnes as a fascinating engine. I think it's got to be Toronto if we're talking about the team that could actually make a legitimate leap this season.
I feel the Toronto pick. I mean, there's always that possibility for sure. Toronto does have talent on their team for sure. I question like the fit. Like they send off, they had these like interchangeable wings that they all traded, and then just to build a very similar team makeup again. So we'll see what they can do. I like the Toronto Raptors roster. I don't love it. I mean, it's clear the pick here is easy. It's the Charlotte. No, I'm just playing. I'm not going to pick the Charlotte Hornets here. I'm not going to do anything crazy like that. I'll say the Pelicans. If Zion Williamson is truly healthy, I think the Pelicans can make the playoffs this year. I think that they have an interesting roster enough. DeJounte Murray is still a really good point guard in this league. And if Zion is healthy to kind of be the connector there that can transcend that team and be the dominant player that they need, it'd be tough in the Western Conference. They still have to go through the play-in. I'm not picking them to make the playoffs outright, but I think the Pelicans have an interesting enough roster. Jordan Poole's there now. I think the Pelicans would be a really interesting team this season.
These teams I think are best kind of identified by, do you want it, like, how much do you want to see them in preseason? And the answer must be like, never. Why would I care? You really do get a sense for how good teams are and the vibe that they have. Like, have they been in training camp being like, hey, we're pretty good, or not? And you see that in preseason.
Wait a second. We all missed an easy give me here. If we're talking about a team that was not in the playoffs last year that's young, could turn into the team, it's the San Antonio Spurs.
I was going to bring them up. I was wondering if when you guys were preparing for the show, did we all just agree that was too easy? They win 30 games last year. They have Victor Wembanyama. They draft Dylan Harper. They've got a good young team. Did we just agree to do they not count?
No. My problem is that I've seen this before where a guy suffers a season-ending injury and everyone says, oh, well, it's this, without paying attention to what happened before that. They were not good before Wemby got the blood clot. They were not good. They were not good defensively. They were not good offensively. I don't buy into the wings. I don't think Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell are good enough. I don't think Jeremy Sohan has really found his role and what he can be yet. I know one of the good parts about them last year? Chris Paul is no longer there. Like, Can Dylan, your guards are De'Aaron Fox and 2 super young guys who are going to be in competition with each other. I don't look at the wing and go like, yes, they have that solved. I don't know what the best lineups around Wemby are and if they're reliable. I have way too many questions about the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. The questions are legitimate, but I think we didn't see enough of Wemby and De'Aaron Fox out there together. I think that's going to be the key thing, how that can work. We've seen De'Aaron Fox be really good with the Sacramento Kings team that doesn't have nearly the talent. Yes, they have some things that they need to figure out rotation wise, but like you say, you're like Devin Vassell to me is really good, and I think now that he's going to have kind of less responsibility on him offensively, he could possibly take a leap. But a lot comes down to, can Wemby stay healthy? Does Wemby fix some of the things about his game that me and you talked about last season, Matt? Like, teams last year were getting away with putting wings on Wemby to force him out the paint, which just made this San Antonio Spurs a lot easier to guard. So how much Wemby has grown as a player is going to make a huge determination here. But I think they have the talent to make the playoffs in the Western Conference.
If they don't make the playoffs, if they don't make the play-in, if they're not good, the conversation is going to turn on Wemby. Somebody's going to race to build their anti-Wemby position, which I think is too early because it's just like, I just don't think that they've.
Is that you, Matt? Are you going to build?
Not me. I just don't think that they've established the build well enough. Like, my problems are not Wemby. Wemby's actually, he's not better than I thought he was. He's more impactful than I thought he would be at this age, which is actually scarier. The problem is just like the rest of the build. I have so many questions about. I am not convinced that this is a playoff team around Victor Wembanyama.
And finally, Sister Jean is stepping away. The 106-year-old nun who captured the nation's heart during Loyola Chicago's Cinderella run to the 2018 Final Four is retiring as the Ramblers team chaplain. Sister Jean has been a fixture at Loyola since 1991, offering pregame prayers, encouragement, and more than a little inspiration. Health concerns are behind her decision, but her impact is already immortal, a symbol of faith, joy, and of course, the magic of March Madness. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, hey, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, can Sam Darnold and the Seahawks steal one on the road? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.